Mouse control was one of the most interesting features showcased when the Switch 2 was announced, and with the June 7th update to Fortnite, they have been enabled in-game, so let's take a look together and see how it feels. We'll be using the included collar for this test. While the cursor is enabled by turning a Joy-Con of choice on the menu, you'll have to actually enable the controls in the settings of Fortnite and then set the preference to left or right. Now, immediately I'm shook because the right click is being used as the primary, opposite of what a mouse is like on PC, and muscle memory had me wanting to click with the left. I'm going to use the stock settings for the first match, and I noticed I was feeling an urge to use the right stick to move around, like I knew I was on a console and using a controller. And unsurprisingly, my first match ended pretty quick. I was able to get a few knocks, and the fine aiming was really nice. I do feel like I outpaced one opponent by being able to turn 180 on a dime instead of being at the mercy of a stick, but that wasn't enough to win. So now I'll tweak the settings, finding a decent spot for sensitivity at around 65ish% and try and remap some buttons. What I'd like is to be able to remap commands to the right stick, make one direction sprint or build settings, but the mappings wouldn't let me. Furthermore, I couldn't remap ZR at all. Every time I tried, it would just close. I'm not sure if it's a bug or if it's locked out completely. Seeing as ZR is used as the confirmation click, maybe that's why you can't change it. Other buttons would prompt me to agree to unbind and rebind it elsewhere if it was already in use, but again, ZR would not. I was really hoping to make that button aim down sight and R for fire, so it'd be more like a right click, left click, but the settings just don't allow it. So again, I launched, and this time I felt a little bit better, but with the way the controls are laid out, there's just no getting around using A, X, B, and Y on the right controller. This is probably more native for folks who use a 16 or more button mouse, but that's just not something that I'm personally used to. But hey, I was able to get a few more knocks and make it to the final 30. Now, one thing that surprised me is that keyboard support is enabled on the Switch 2, but not for Fortnite. This is not the case on other consoles, but for the Switch 2, it's just not available. I was hoping to test keyboard and Joy-Con combos to see if I could use the mouse function for just left and right click, but that just doesn't work. Maybe in the future, and I'd really suggest that they enable it. There's some neat innovation here with the mouse and a controller like this, but like some things with the Switch 2 launch, it just feels a bit half-baked. The apparent inability to remap the ZR button and have the settings conform to a conventional mouse is odd, and locking out the stick is understandable, but also not allowing us to turn it on to remap it seems like a missed opportunity. For now, it's a neat gimmick, but I'll likely just use a regular controller again on the Switch when playing for it. Let me know what your thoughts are, and cheers.